It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a do.
Hey, what's going on, people? So, I was going through some videos on YouTube and I was doing some research because, I always pay attention to what's going out there. And basically, something came to my attention and I felt I should make a quick video about it. All of you are probably familiar with Bruce Lee. He's the guy that started the martial arts craze in America. He's the guy that pretty much opened the doors for guys like Jackie Chan, Jet Li, and Tony Jaa. And he's also very well known in martial arts circles as someone who was not just a great martial artist himself, but a legendary innovator. Um, Bruce Bruce started something called Jeet Kune Do. And if you do some research on YouTube, you will see a lot of videos that will explain the characteristics of this martial art and the basics that Bruce had created for it. But there is a problem. Jeet Kune Do is not a martial arts style. It is not like karate or kung fu or Muay Thai or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's not a style. It's a philosophy. See, you have to understand the beginning of Jeet Kune Do. Bruce Lee started his martial arts career under Yip Man, who was a master of Wing Chun. And Bruce was pretty much a Wing Chun practitioner for most of his young life. But when he came to America, he realized that the style he practiced limited him to the things he learned within that style. What does that mean? It means that it doesn't really matter the style you use when you're fighting, because fights are dynamic, they're not static. They don't stay in one place. So yeah, you may be in your Muay Thai stance or your karate stance or whatever, but the fight might not go towards that direction and you might find yourself hopeless. And that's what prompted him to start Jeet Kune Do. Originally he called it Jun Fan Gung Fu, but later on he changed it to Jeet Kune Do. And actually, I got the book not too long ago, and I'm still going through it, but I finished it once, but I'm kind of going through it again. And he explains that Jeet Kune Do should not be seen as a martial arts style. Do not listen to people who tell you, oh, if you're a Jeet Kune Do fighter, you stand this way or that way, and you do this and that. No, it's a philosophy. And I subscribe to that philosophy. Basically, what he said is, take whatever works from any martial art and incorporate it into your own curriculum, as long as it works for you. Yeah, in the book, he put in some advice on what stance to use and how to kick and stuff, but he stressed multiple times not to take everything he's saying literally. What you saw in his book and his style of fighting is what worked for him. That's why he used that particular style. You might not be like Bruce Lee. First of all, Bruce Lee was very fast, much faster than the average human being. He trained hard to achieve that level of fitness. I mean, go on YouTube, you will see videos of him doing push-ups with his fingers. To reach that level of fitness, you would have to train hard for years. Secondly, he had a small frame, so that worked to his advantage. A normal black person, for instance, like me, we're usually a little bit taller and a little bit beefier. So it might not work for as well for us. Same for other races and for other groups of people. Some people are fatter than others. It's not that they're fat per se, but they're just stockier or beefier. So relying on speed might not be the best way to go for them. So basically, the whole point of this video is this. Jeet Kune Do is a great philosophy. Like I said, if you guys haven't got this book yet, go to your nearest library and buy it. He put some really important gems of wisdom in it. And you should get it for any martial artist. However, do not subscribe to a style of Jeet Kune Do. Remember that it's a philosophy, it's a way of thinking. And the ultimate goal of Jeet Kune Do is to strip away All unnecessary things. You don't need stylish punches and stylish flying kicks. Take what matters. Take what works. For instance, I did some Jeet Kune Do myself to see if I would get into it. In the Jeet Kune Do stance, in the book, for instance, he tells people to use your power hand forward and keep your defensive hand backward, because the power hand will do most of the work. I come from a boxing background. I started out with boxing and Muay Thai. I can't get used to the idea of my power hand being up front because I'm not a lefty. You know, a lefty can have the right hand up front and the left in the back, but I'm not a lefty. And it doesn't work for me because I don't like having my hand out there. If you're fighting and your power hand is out and you throw the first punch and it gets grabbed or dodged or whatever, you're left with your weaker hand. You're going on the idea that you're intercepting the person, but there's no guarantee that you will get the person first. So for me, it doesn't work. It worked for Bruce Lee because he had a very fast right hand. He could quickly punch you on retreat without you actually having the chance to stop him. And the left hand was used to defend, the rest of his body pretty much. But for me, I'm more comfortable with my left out front and my right behind because I have a larger margin of error with my left hand. And in MMA, it's the same thing. Most fighters that are right-handed use their power hand behind and the left hand in front to set up combinations or whatever. So that's how it works for me. For some other people, it might be different. The kicking motions, for instance, I'm a big follower of Muay Thai when it comes to kicking. Rotate your hip, position your feet properly. It's worked great for me. Although I like the Jeet Kune Do front kick, where you charge with your right, and it's hard to explain, but do your research on the Jeet Kune Do kicking styles and the way they do it. Some of their kicks work for me. So basically, all I'm saying is, don't approach Jeet Kune Do as a style. Do not listen to people who tell you this is the ultimate style of fighting created by Bruce Lee. Even in the last chapter of the book, he says it. The day that Jeet Kune Do is viewed as a style, please stop using that name. Because Jeet Kune Do is not a style, it's a philosophy. In many ways, it's the precursor of everything that we know about MMA today. Take only what works from whatever source you can get and adapt to it the way it works for you. He offered some tips in his book, and he offered some tips in other books and articles, like some of the articles he left on Black Belt magazine. But ultimately, he said it best. He's like, do not embrace it as a style. Nothing that I say is written in stone. Fighting is fluid. You have to adapt. The situation might change at any given moment. So do not cripple yourself by limiting your knowledge to whatever style you're practicing. Yeah, the Taekwondo kicks look really flashy, but you might not be in a situation to make the best use of them. Boxing is really effective in certain situations. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is really effective in certain situations. But in order to be a good fighter, you have to take what works and incorporate it into what works for you as a style. Your style should be only for you. Do not limit yourself to what this style or that style teaches you, because no style has the answer for everything. So that's just my 2 cents. Do not view Jeet Kune Do as a style, because that's not what Bruce Lee wanted. It's a philosophy. Remember that. And like I said, get the book. It's really great. Any martial artist will benefit greatly from it. Till next time.
It's been a long time. We shouldn't have left you without a dope beat. Step two, step two, step two, step two, step